So imagine this, a bishop, someone who's been loyal, faithful, standing right next to his leader, suddenly gets dropped. No warning, no clear reason, just gone. That's what happened between Bishop Joel Tudman and Bishop Henry Fernandez. And let me tell you, folks in the church world, they're shook. People are whispering, wondering, what in the world happened? Well, the silence didn't last forever. Tudman finally spoke up. And what he said? It's got folks rethinking everything they thought they knew about church leadership, loyalty, and power. Now, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that's got the whole faith community buzzing like bees in a jar. This ain't just some church drama. This is big. Bishop Joel Tudman got let go by Bishop Henry Fernandez, and it's got people asking all kinds of questions. Why would someone like Tudman, who's respected and loved, get kicked out like that? What went wrong? For months, folks were quiet, just rumors flying around, no answers. But now Tudman's telling his side, and it's not what people expected. We're going to walk through the timeline, dig into the behind-the-scenes stuff, and share some things that haven't been said out loud. And listen, some of this might flip your whole view of these two men and the ministries they lead. So sit tight. This ain't just gossip. This is about ambition, betrayal, and what happens when silence finally breaks. And trust me, the twists in this story, you won't see them coming. But before we get into the drama, let's talk about who Bishop Joel Tudman really is. This man didn't come from a big-name church. He didn't get handed a platform. He worked for it, hard. His journey was all about grit, discipline, and chasing God's call with everything he had. From the start, Tudman wasn't just preaching fancy words. He was talking about real life, about struggle, about holding on to faith when everything's falling apart. That's why people listened. That's why they followed him.
As time went on, Tudman's voice got louder. He became a leader for folks who felt left out. He was honest, raw, and real. That kind of truth, it draws people in, and it made him valuable to any church he joined. Then came Bishop Henry Fernandez. Big name, big reach, lots of respect. When Tudman and Fernandez teamed up, people thought it was a match made in heaven. Tudman brought fresh fire. Fernandez brought legacy. Together, they looked unstoppable. But behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. While folks were clapping in the pews, cracks were forming backstage. Smiles on Sunday didn't show the tension building in private. And that's where the story starts to shift. Stay with me, because the truth behind this story is far more complicated than anyone expected. Now, Bishop Fernandez didn't just show up with a big church and a fancy title. He started small, real small. Back in the day, he had no big building, no cameras, no crowd, just a dream, some faith, and a whole lot of hustle. And from that, he built the Faith Center in Florida, a place that grew into one of the biggest ministries around. Folks didn't just come there to pray. They came to be changed, to be empowered. That church became a landmark, not just in Florida, but across the globe. Fernandez's voice, it's been heard on stages, on TV, and conferences all over the world. People respect him, they follow him, and part of that is because of how he leads. He's known for being firm, focused, a man who likes things in order. Loyalty, that's big for him. Structure, even bigger. And for years, that's worked. That's how he built what he built. But let's be real. Strong leadership can rub people the wrong way sometimes. Some folks say his style feels more like control than guidance, that he's so focused on keeping the ministry tight, he doesn't leave much room for new ideas or different voices. Then came Bishop Joel Tudman, young, bold, full of fire. Tudman had a way of reaching people, especially the younger crowd. He was raw, real, and didn't hold back. When he teamed up with Fernandez, people thought it was perfect. Old school meets new school, wisdom meets energy. It looked like a dream team. But behind the scenes, things weren't so smooth. Tudman's popularity started rising. His preaching hit deep. People connected with him. And sometimes when someone under your roof starts shining too bright, it can feel like a threat, even if they don't mean it that way. Fernandez still held the reins. He made the calls, his name opened doors. And when he decided to let Tudman go, it wasn't just a quiet move, it was loud, it was bold, it was a message. Now, here's the part that's got everybody talking. What really went down behind those closed doors? Was it just two visions clashing, or was it something deeper? Politics, ambition, maybe even betrayal?
In the next chapter, we're going to start pulling back the curtain. We'll look at the timeline, the decisions, and the moments that led to Tudman's shocking exit. And trust me, the details will raise even more questions than answers. Let's take it back. When Tudman first stepped into the Faith Center, the place lit up. Folks felt his fire. He preached with heart, with honesty, and he made people, young and old, feel like they mattered. Young believers saw themselves in him. Older folks respected his depth. He wasn't just preaching, he was reaching. And for a while, it looked like he and Fernandez were the perfect match. Tudman brought fresh energy, Fernandez brought legacy. Together, they had something special. But then, whispers started. People noticed things. Tudman's sermons were hitting different. Some said he was outshining Fernandez. Others felt the vibe shifting. Was it jealousy? Was it a power struggle? Nobody knew for sure, but you could feel the tension in the air. Behind the scenes, things got sticky. Tudman had big ideas, outreach programs, ways to connect with folks who felt forgotten. Fernandez, he wanted to keep things polished, structured, just like they'd always been. That's not just a difference in opinion, that's a clash of vision, a clash of ego, and it started to show. First sign, Tudman got pulled back. Not as visible, not as vocal. Major events came and went, and his presence faded. To the outside world, it looked like a shift in focus, but to those watching closely, it was a red flag. Then came the silence. Rumors flew. People talked, but no one really knew what was going on. Tudman felt lost, unsure if he still had a place. Fernandez, meanwhile, tightened his grip. He made it clear he was still in charge. And then, out of nowhere, it happened. Tudman was let go. No warning, no explanation, just gone. The church was stunned. Social media lit up. People were asking, why now? Why like this? What really happened? But the loudest part of it all was the silence that followed. Weeks passed, then months, no real answers, just confusion, hurt, division. The faith community was left hanging, wondering if the truth would ever come out.
And just when folks started to think they'd never hear Tudman's side, he spoke. Bishop Tudman finally broke his silence. For months, folks were left guessing. Church members whispered in the pews, leaders had quiet talks behind closed doors, social media, full of theories. But Tudman, he stayed silent. No drama, no quick clapbacks, just silence. Then one day, he spoke. And when he did, it wasn't loud or messy. It was calm, thoughtful. But don't get it twisted, his words hit hard. Tudman said the way he was let go was sudden. No real talk, no respect, just gone. And for someone who gave his heart, his time, and his vision to that ministry, that silence hurt more than the actual firing. He talked about how decisions were made without him, how his voice started to fade, how loyalty was expected but not returned. And if you've ever worked under strong leadership, you know that feeling. Giving your all only to be left out when it matters most. But Tudman didn't stop there. He opened up about the emotional toll, not just on him, but on his family, his team, the people who stood with him. Because ministry isn't just about the person on stage. It's about the ones behind the scenes who carry the weight when things fall apart. Then came the line that stopped everyone cold. Tudman said, sometimes what looks like rejection is really God's redirection. Boom. Just like that, he flipped the whole story. He wasn't just the guy who got fired. He became the man who saw purpose in the pain. His silence wasn't weakness, it was preparation. And that message, it lit a fire. People rallied. Some saw it as a bold move, others wondered if he was holding back to keep things from blowing up even more. But one thing was clear, Tudman wasn't done. He hinted at what's next, a new chapter, a new mission, maybe even a new way of leading that challenges how we think about loyalty and legacy in the church. But hold up, there's still one piece missing, Bishop Henry Fernandez. While Tudman spoke, Fernandez stayed quiet. No interviews, no deep explanations. Just a short message asking folks to trust his leadership. And that silence, it spoke volumes. In leadership, silence can mean a lot. It can be wisdom, it can be strategy, or it can be something else entirely. But in this case, it left people wondering, why no response? Why no clarity? And that's where we leave it, for now. Because while Tudman's words brought light, they also opened the door to more questions. And the biggest one still hanging in the air is this: what really happened behind the scenes? Stay close. The next chapter might just change everything. Now, some folks say Fernandez is playing it smart, that he's keeping cool, refusing to get dragged into drama, that his silence is power, a way of saying, I don't owe anyone an explanation. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's about control.
But others see it differently. They say silence leaves space for rumors, and when people don't get answers, they start making up their own. Church members are left piecing together bits from social media, whispers, and secondhand stories. And for a man whose voice has guided thousands, that silence, it stings. Still, there's another angle. Maybe Fernandez is protecting something bigger. Church politics aren't simple. There's money, legal stuff, reputations on the line. Maybe he's staying quiet not because he doesn't care, but because saying too much could blow things wide open. Whatever the reason, one thing's clear. Fernandez's silence created a vacuum, and into that space, Tudman stepped in. He spoke, he shared, and now the public sees the story mostly through his lens. When one man talks and the other stays quiet, people start leaning toward the one who's speaking. Supporters of Fernandez say he's wise, refusing to feed the fire. Critics say he's dodging the truth. Either way, the silence hasn't ended the conversation, it's kept it alive. But here's the twist. Silence doesn't last forever. Sooner or later, Fernandez will have to speak, maybe through a sermon, maybe a statement, maybe just through his actions. But when he does, it could flip the whole story. Now, while we wait for that moment, let's shift the spotlight. What's next for Bishop Joel Tudman? Because this isn't just about being fired, it's about being transformed. Tudman said it himself, rejection isn't the end, it's redirection. And if history teaches us anything, it's that leaders who get knocked down often rise up stronger. Word on the street is Tudman's gearing up for a new season, a fresh start, maybe even his own church. He's got the voice, the vision, and the people. Folks who believe in him, who've seen him preach with fire and connect across generations. So what would that look like? Some say he'll plant roots in a new city, build something from the ground up, a place where he can pour out fresh vision and lead without limits. And if that's true, then this whole fallout, it might not be the end of Tudman's story. It might be the beginning of something bigger, something bold, something built not from rejection, but from redirection. Some folks believe Bishop Joel Tudman might not rush to build another church right away. Instead, they think he'll lean into something bigger. Conferences, online ministry, digital platforms, and honestly, that makes sense. These days, you don't need a building to reach people. You need a message, a voice, and a connection. Tudman's got all three. His energy, his honesty, his ability to speak to folks from all walks of life, that's what draws people in. And the internet, that's a global pulpit. But let's not sugarcoat it. Starting over after a public fallout, that's tough. Some folks will still label him the bishop who got dismissed. Others might question if he's got the backing, the resources, or the strength to stand on his own. But if you followed Tudman's journey, you know one thing. He's built different. His strength isn't just in his sermons, it's in his bounce back, his resilience. And if what he said is true, this season isn't about proving anything to people, it's about walking in the purpose he believed God gave him.
Meanwhile, the faith community is watching. Some are waiting for the dust to settle. Others are wondering if this moment will be the launch pad for Tudman's next chapter. Because this whole situation, it's not just about a job loss. It's about leadership, about loyalty, about the quiet battles that happen behind the scenes in ministry. Tudman's rise, his sudden exit, and his decision to finally speak out, it all reminds us that even in church, ambition and conflict don't disappear. For Bishop Fernandez, silence has been his move. No statements, no interviews, just quiet. And that silence, it's got people guessing. Is it wisdom? Is it avoidance? Is it strategy? For Tudman, speaking out wasn't just about telling his side. It was about reclaiming his voice, his dignity, his future. And for the rest of us watching, this story is a wake-up call. Leadership isn't just about titles and platforms. It's about how you treat people when things get messy. It's about how you handle conflict when the cameras are off. It's about what you do when the spotlight shifts. So now I'm asking you, what do you think? Was Tudman's dismissal just a clash of visions, or was something deeper going on? Is Fernandez's silence a sign of wisdom, or is it a way to dodge accountability? And most of all, what's next for Bishop Joel Tudman? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if this opened your eyes, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more stories that go beyond the headlines. Because trust me, the real story, it's just getting started.